I'm Michael Howard, Managing Director and owner of Urban Bubble. We're a residential managing agent based here in the northern quarter of Manchester with also an office over in the Baltic Triangle in Liverpool. We manage between the two cities in the region and northwest, 7,500 properties, apartments in residential estates. And our job splits between block management, facilities management, maintenance and repairs, lettings and sales, and of the last few years really getting knee deep into the PRS and build to rent sector as we call it now. Why Manchester is an attractive place to set up a business or do business, whether it's property or otherwise, is it's a very progressive city, it's a very successful city, and albeit the accent might confuse many people being a Scouser, I was actually brought up in Skelmersdale, so I'm a bit in between Liverpool and Manchester. But Manchester is a phenomenally successful city. We know the heritage through music, industry, but the football teams, the infrastructure, the connectivity, the universities, and the local authority are all seen as leaders European-wide in what we do. And I think that's brought a lot of interest into the city, which obviously benefits the property and the real estate market, whether that's offices or now residential. And I think within MIPIM what you'll find is us exploring again this year just how Manchester is a global city for investors, and we're attracting from every corner of the world investment into the residential real estate. Our business, Urban Bubble, is a good example of how businesses can thrive. We set up literally at the start of the property recession in 2008, and we've grown 50% year on year and have become a leading player in the UK in what we do. And that's all down to one thing, I would say, which is just the collaborative, progressive way in which people in Manchester do business. Changes we've seen in Manchester since 2008 when we've set up. I think, as you'll see from our library, change happens all the time. The city from 1620, when it was first established, the first map of Manchester, and I'm sure someone will correct me, has been constantly evolving and changing. As a city with apartments and city centre living in the modern age, you know, we're a very young and immature city with the first residential block really being established in about 1989, 1990. So I think if you look at any of the presentations and the analysis being done by the likes of Paul Beardmore, Manchester Place, you'll see that the city's got a lot of change to come. We're redefining the city boundary, so it's not just the M60, the inner ring road. We've got to look at Salford and the other side of the river being part of the city centre. And I think what you'll now start to see, or what we're certainly seeing, is that acceptance of our city being a much greater area, and from a residential point of view, actually trying to establish some of the neighbourhoods within the city, like Ancoats, like New Cross, like New Islington, but also further around, the guys at Middlewood Locks are establishing a great new neighbourhood there. So I think that's what you'll start to see now, is rather than the city being Manchester in the city ring road, we'll start to see us really mature as a city area. Exciting. Urban Bubble at the moment are working on a number of projects. We've had a really great, successful last few months taking on the Media City residential estate. So number one and the heart over there, the established blocks with the light box coming on board. And I think everybody will have seen in the press the aspirations and plans that the guys over at Peel and Media City have with build to rent and further residential development on the 10-year master plan. So that's very exciting. We've been doing a lot of work in the last 3 or 4 years around the build to rent space, which is where single ownership, institutional ownership of residential assets. So rather than rather than blocks of apartments being divvied up and sold to independent owners who will then let them out, that's institutional owners, just like an office block, owning a whole block of apartments. Our inaugural win was Mr. Fred Doan's contract with the two Salford schemes there, Trinity and Crescent, which was announced last year. But we've been able to add to that with the appointment to Legal & General, who are going to be one of the largest institutional investors in the UK. And we were appointed back end of last year to their build-to-rent portfolio, which sees an investment of 1.1 billion over about 4,000 units, with the first scheme being New Bailey in Salford, 225 units. So that for us is as I keep saying to the team, the Willy Wonka golden ticket to the chocolate factory. So we're delighted to be partnering with Legal & General, and that will see Urban Bubble go from a parochial regional operator to a national player. The reason I've joined the MIPIM delegation this year, and it's my 4th year, I believe, when I first went to MIPIM, I came part of the delegation straight away. And I make no bones about it, it's the best. I go in at the associate level, and I think if you're going to do MIPIM, not only should you buy a badge, but I think you should be part of the city that you're contributing to. So for us, we're Manchester this year, and have been every year. We get involved with Liverpool too. We did it MIPIM UK. It's a no-brainer. If you are going to be a serious property player within the market, whichever market that may be, then what better place or what method of having everybody within the city being in one place for 3 days? So my view is it's the best £6,000 we spend in marketing every year. So for me, it's a very easy decision to make, and I think year on year that the partnership has improved, the events get better. This year we've got the pavilion, which is great. And it's great to see some familiar guys out there again, so we can further and progress discussions and chats that are happening for the city as well as our own businesses. But it's really great to see, I think, another 20 partners, record breaking 99 last year, and I only see it actually increasing for the partnership at Manchester. My personal ambition for MIPIM is not going to bed by 11 o'clock on Thursday because I'm usually absolutely shattered. My personal ambitions for MIPIM this year is, I always say to anybody going along, go with a plan, get the events list, get the delegates list, and go with a plan, and don't try to do everything. Try and focus on a core 3 or 4 things you want to achieve, whether that's to go and learn, whether that's to go and share, or whether that's to go and further your own business. And there's plenty out there to do. I tend to find to get out there very early on the Monday, so I can use that Monday to get as many of the meetings done as I need to, and then further things during the week and have some time for the presentations at the Manchester, the Liverpool, and the wider conference around residential. And also a little tip, go and visit the Innovation Lounge. There's some great exhibitors at the Innovation Lounge and can spark off some ideas in whatever area of real estate you work in. What excites me most about the future of Manchester is, quite simply, this city sees no end to its possibility. I believe we have had one of the most progressive local authorities in the last 20 years, and I hope that continues. I believe we have got a very well placed infrastructure from a transport and connectivity point of view, and I see that only improving. We've still got 2 very successful football teams, and I support neither of each. But I think that's a really key part of the success of the city. And we have a really progressive education side of things with the Oxford Corridor, the science parks, with the work that Bum would do. I mean, every part that you look at within Manchester as a city is successful. So Brexit and all these other things going on in the world, I think if Manchester just continues to focus on what it's good at and its successes, I think it'll have a very long, generations to come career, a successful outlook and future. And I think anybody working in the real estate, whether it's residential, commercial, retail, I think we've all got a really significant and prosperous part to play in it.